All right, welcome back to the Healthy and Whole podcast. Coming up on today's episode, we're going to talk through our morning routines a little bit, compare and contrast our morning routines, how we get started each day. Then we're going to go in and talk in a little bit about things that we each do to avoid boredom and burnout, getting sort of bored with things we're doing on our fitness journeys. And then we're going to dive into, this will probably get us some hate, I think, but we're going to talk through products and pitfalls that people get sucked into. I'll have to hold back a little bit on that one, I think, because I get passionate
when I have to hold you back
when I talk about that. So let's dive in first to morning routines. Why don't you start, and then I'll follow up with mine. So, what does your morning routine look like right now, Coach Colton? What do you do to make sure that you start off your day on the right foot?
It's definitely been a work in progress. I'd like to say it's perfect every single day, but I'm human, and things happen. I've definitely gotten a lot better about certain things. So in the morning, so just to start off, my morning routine, I wake up 7 a.m. every single day, and then I get ready for the day, get dressed and stuff. And then while I'm doing that, I have my handy dandy coffee maker that I can pre-program the night before.
You're so fancy.
It's making coffee while I'm doing my thing. You know what I mean?
Fancy.
So wake up.
So you set that the night before?
Yeah. Which helps me out a lot. It's got a little beeper on it. Mm-hmm. So that helps wake me up too. So I get up and get ready for the day. And then I grab my coffee, sit down on my coffee table. And lately I've been, it's not really meditating, but it's kind of meditating where it makes me sound fancy. It's not that impressive. But I sit down right before I read my Bible and I do the Lord's Prayer. And the way I go about that is I don't say it out loud. I kind of mentally do the Lord's Prayer. But if my mind at all starts thinking about other things, or there's an intrusive thought that gets me off track of what I'm in the middle of my prayer, then I restart, which kind of helps me recenter and refocus and force my mind. I guess that's kind of like meditation, because meditation
it is.
So it's basically meditation.
I like it. You're practicing focus.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. Yeah.
And then I read my Bible, and then I kind of go on about my day, depending on what appointments I have or stuff like that comes up. If I have a workout that morning, then I'll leave to go to the gym. But I'd like to say that's been, that's how it always looks. Obviously, that's how it looks maybe 90% of the time. Fridays, I have to leave earlier to go coach a class, so they don't exactly look like that. I do my Bible time at the end of the day, which I don't usually like doing, but at least, it's better at the end of the day than never.
Yeah. Well, I like that you move it, though. I like that you don't use that day as an excuse to not check off the habit.
Right.
That you intentionally move it to the end of the day on that day, so that I don't know. I just think there's something really cool about doing things like that.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to habits and routines, it's once you do get off with something, even if it's just one day, it can be hard to get back on for some people. But also, I just think it feels good when you do things like that from a mental, emotional perspective. I think there's a level of, I think it boosts your confidence and your respect when you do things like that. That's my perception with my own, journey when I do things like that, instead of using it as I don't even like the word excuse, but just this is just my schedule's different today. I don't have time to do it. I think it's cool that you move it.
Yeah. It gives you the confidence that you can at least adapt to, whatever your schedule brings.
Yeah.
I'm blessed with a pretty consistent schedule for the most part. Sometimes it's a little crazy. And a challenge of mine that's coming up is I'm taking on clients that are a little bit earlier in the day too. So, I'm going to have to kind of shift my schedule around some, and I have been lately, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I've been consistent with that routine that I just mentioned, at least for maybe a little less than a year now.
Yep.
Hasn't always been like that. Beforehand, I was like struggling with my routine. And the main thing that really stopped me was waking up. I would sleep past my alarm. And it like happened in stages. The biggest thing was just not waking up or hitting the snooze button. So then I got a cell phone jail, which kind of worked. If you don't know what a cell phone jail is, it's just like this little, literally what it sounds like. It's a little jail cell that you can get from like Amazon, and you can lock it and put your phone in it. And you have to unlock it in order to get your phone out and then hit stop. So I would put it on the other side of our bedroom. I'd get up, go turn it off. And then I'd be standing up and all that. Well, Sleepy Colton is very persistent and really wants his sleep. Yeah. So I got really Sleepy Colton. Yeah. Got really smart and I would stick my finger in and hit snooze, and I'd lay back down in bed, which was like just never worked out. So then I was like, you know what? I'll just move my phone into the bathroom because it's pretty close to our bedroom. I could still hear, my phone from there. So I put it in the bathroom, and
it's probably not loud enough for it to wake you up.
It was, but I just did the same thing. Sleepy Colton was like,
you just walked a little bit further.
Yeah.
And you still did it. And then you went back to bed.
Yeah. I'd stick my finger in it. Eventually I got so tired of it. It's a plastic.
So lazy.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
Take the top off.
I've done the same. I've fought the same battle. I totally get it.
Yeah. It was frustrating. And it's like, dude, I just can't. So, naturally I'm like trying to figure out a way, like, how can I consistently get up? Yeah. So on our wedding registry, we had this coffee maker, which I just mentioned when I was explaining my morning routine. The coffee maker I had before, load of junk. It made my coffee, so I kept it around. But
that sounds like I had this girlfriend once, and so I kept her around. She was all right. So
I kept her around. She was good enough. But the coffee maker, like, it worked and everything. I'm the kind of guy who's like, if it isn't broken, don't fix it, Yeah. But I needed a new coffee maker desperately. I had this one for like 2.5 years, and I cleaned it, but it never looked like it was cleaned.
You didn't clean it. Admit it. It was like all crusty and yeah.
I think by cleaning it, I'm meaning I threw the stuff in the dishwasher and then wiped down the pot.
No, I know you. You probably meticulously cleaned it because you are a clean freak, like on another level.
This new one I got, though, dude, check this out. This new one I got. So first of all, what helped me out a lot is it's got it pre-programmed. You can pre-program it. So I pre-program it 10 minutes before I wake up. So that way when I'm up, there's coffee made. I got some motivation to stay up. I'm like, oh, my coffee's done. Well, it's also got a beeper on it, so I can hear that pretty loudly. Yeah. And this thing has like a charcoal filter in it. I don't even know what that means, but it's got like a charcoal filter, or like what it means for the coffee. Like, I don't know. I didn't think you needed to double filter the water or anything, because it's already clean water, but it filters the water through the charcoal filter. And then there's like this fancy like metal filter for the coffee. So like double filters my coffee.
You're so bougie.
I know, man. I didn't even pay for this thing. So
can you taste the difference?
No, it just tastes like really good coffee.
It's just really cool to talk about.
Yeah, it's like when people have those like really successful people have this. Really rich people have this. It's like where it's like you pack in the coffee and slide it in the thing. I don't have one of those.
I literally have a Mr. Coffee maker downstairs.
Yeah. This is like 4 steps down, and the coffee tastes about the same. Yeah. But anyway, I'll stop ranting and raving about
back to your morning routine and all that stuff. We're getting sidetracked here.
So that helped me out a lot, just getting up in the morning consistently, and having that prepared gave me some motivation to stay up. Yeah. And then ever since then, everything else has kind of fallen into place. So that's really my morning routine. Like I said, things change. just because of different appointments and stuff that happen throughout the week, but I just kind of shift things around depending on when I have free time and when I can consciously make the decision like, oh, I need to do this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, morning routines and evening routines. I don't know. My evening routine has been like very consistent for a long time. Morning routines. My morning routine has changed many times. And I feel like it's something that I feel like your routines are something you should always be evolving if they don't feel like they're 100% dialed in and serving you in the way that you feel like they should.
Yeah.
I also think that's why evening routines tend to be pretty stable for people, because evening's pretty easy. But morning routine is where people struggle because it's the getting up in the morning thing that people struggle with. I know that's me.
It's similar to like the just getting to the gym part. It's very similar. It's like all you got to do is wake up. Everything else kind of falls into place.
Yeah. That's always been my struggle, is getting up early. I've tried both ways. In fact, I'm just coming off of a cycle where I was like getting up super early, super consistently, and then Corbin was born, and I just gave up. Like when Corbin was born, he was really colicky. He woke up all the way up until he just turned a year in March, and all the way up until he turned a year old, and maybe a couple, 2 or 3, weeks after that, he woke up at least twice a night. Like to eat. And so sleep was just all over the place. And so I just out of necessity shifted into a mode where I was getting up later. I was sleeping in, where I normally would get up at like 4:30 or 5. And now I was sleeping in until like 7:30, some mornings, even 8 o'clock. Cause I was just so wiped out. And so I had like a very different morning routine for a while. I'm back now that Corbin he's all of a sudden turned a corner, and now he's sleeping through the night again. And so I just shifted back to 5 a.m. wake up. So I feel like, morning routines, they're always probably do need to dynamically change based on kind of like where you're at in life at the moment. But so my morning routine as of right now, this moment, it'll probably change in 6 months, but I wake up at 5 a.m. I have 45 minutes to get through like showering, getting ready. But basically what I do is I wake up, I've already made a hydration cocktail the night before. So I guess I talk about my night routine because it kind of sets up my morning routine.
Yeah.
My nighttime routine is super simple. I literally just, I get my clothes that I'm going to wear the next day, and I mix up a hydration cocktail for Joni and one for me. 40 ounces of water with some Himalayan salt and water flavoring, 0 calorie water flavoring. And I mix one up for her, one up for me. And then I put those on our bedstands next to the bed so that they're ready, so that I can hydrate first before coffee or anything else as soon as I wake up in the morning. And so then I put my phone on the dresser, which is across the room, not next to the bed, and then put my watch on there, all that good stuff. And then I go get in bed, fall asleep, wake up the next morning as soon as the alarm goes off. And I actually have lately I'm not using my phone for an alarm. I'm using I can't remember what they're called. It's basically like a sunlight alarm.
Oh.
So it's a light so I set my alarm clock for say 5 a.m. Starting at 4:30, it slowly starts to get brighter. This light slowly starts to come. It mimics the rising of the sun.
Oh.
It mimics the sunrise. So it's a very warm light. It starts off super warm, like orangish light, like the sun looks as it just starts to peek over the horizon. And the higher the sun gets, the more white it gets, or the more bright yellow it gets. So it literally mimics all of that. So starting at like 4:30, it slowly starts to dimly come on until by 5, it's like, and it's right next to my head in bed. So it's like the sun.
Oh, wow. This is interesting.
Yeah. And then it plays an alarm sound, which for me it's birds chirping.
Oh, I thought it was just going to be like, bright.
No, it is bright,
No
but it's
music or
also
anything.
birds chirping.
That's cool.
And I like, for those of you who are listening, like I bought this thing because I had heard really cool, reviews and stuff on it. And I'd heard different people talk about a sunrise alarm. And I do think it's really cool. I do like it. It actually has a thing at night that you can use where it's called sunset. So you hit a button and it goes to full brightness, and then you can set how long it takes, but it mimics the sun going down. Oh. And I have found that when I use that consistently, like it does kind of help me to get sleepy and then to fall asleep. Yeah. But I won't say like the brightness of the light next to me, it helps, but it's not like a game changer by any means. Like when I wake up and the light is on next to me and it's bright and the birds are chirping, I immediately reach over and hit the button to turn the birds chirping off because it's super annoying. But the light stays on. And because the light stays on, it helps me to not just do what I want to do, which is just fall back to sleep, close my eyes, fall back to sleep. So I pretty much get up, grab my phone, grab my watch. I walk to the bathroom. In my water, I grab my water, phone, watch, go to the bathroom. My clothes are there. I urinate, go to the bathroom, strip down butt naked, jump on the scale, let the scale weigh me, that's going to be the most stable weight you're going to get every day. So I get my weight. I have one of those fancy scales that automatically like logs that weight to my phone so that I don't have to track that manually.
Yeah.
And then what I'll do is, so my water bottle is a 40-ounce water bottle with the hydration cocktail with the salt and the water flavoring. So I will basically turn the shower on and turn it on hot, and I'll get that warming up, and then I will drink half of my hydration cocktail like immediately right there.
Do you shower in the mornings, not the night before?
I shower in the mornings. And here's why, right? So I drink half my hydration cocktail. I get into the shower, and every morning while I'm in the shower, as a part of like this whole wake up routine, I turn on book, podcast, or YouTube video. Mm-hmm. And I literally it's not a shelf. It's like a towel, like rod basically in the back of my shower. And I just lean my phone up so I can listen
brave.
to it.
You are brave.
Oh, it's fallen several times in the shower, but it's, they're like weather sealed enough these days that as long as I pick it up, it's fine. But I always am listening to something growth related. I don't know. I have to be honest. Lately, I'm listening to a lot of politics because it's an election cycle.
That's a heck of a way to start the morning.
And I'm getting fired up. Well, I don't know. I am finding myself being sucked into it. But not in a bad way. Like I'm not like getting fired up and mad in the morning. It's not causing me to be unduly stressed. But I am very interested in it because it is an election cycle, and between election cycles, I don't pay attention really to politics outside of what people mention on podcasts that I listen to. Right. So I don't watch the cable news. I don't do any of that. Mm-hmm. Right. So for like 3 years, out of a 4-year, election, like not election cycle, but a 4-year presidency, I don't really watch the cable news at all. And so I'm in that phase right now where I do, it's like a mixture. Sometimes I'm listening to like catching up on like whatever, like yesterday's political news was in the election cycle. Or I'm listening to an audiobook or a podcast, or a YouTube video on something that I'm trying to learn.
Right.
Something I'm trying to level up.
Okay.
So I'm in the shower, I'm doing that. I start and I do the normal, typical hot shower, all the things that you do in a hot shower. And then I end the shower, and this is why I always do it in the morning. I end every shower with a cold shower. I basically, I set a timer, and I set it for 2 minutes. And that's the other reason I have my cell phone in the shower, because I use that for a timer. So I set the timer for 2 minutes, and I reach down and I turn the hot water all the way off. So there's only cold water going. And I have one of the like 2-handle showers, so it's easy to do that versus the one knob that like you turn this way. I hate the one knob.
Yeah.
The one knobs I hate. But mine, I can just turn off the hot, so I know it's all cold.
Yeah.
And, we're in Indiana, so any of you who are like live in Indiana, how cold Indiana water is. Mm-hmm. And it's that way year round. It's colder in the winter, but even in the summer, cold water is still very cold. Yeah. Whereas like I went to Austin last week for a conference, and I basically didn't get a cold shower last week when I was in Austin because their water doesn't get cold.
Oh gosh.
It's like it's like room temperature at best. So I didn't get my cold shower. I was grumpy, but I always do that cold shower. I love the cold shower. We'll do an episode. We talked about, we were tossing around ideas for this episode. We were talking about doing an episode on things that we've adopted into our healthier lifestyles that we just can't live without. And that's one of the things that I can't live without it.
Yeah.
It just wakes me up. It doesn't matter if I only got 2 hours worth of sleep. The second I do that cold shower and I'm done, I feel like I got a full 8 hours of sleep.
Oh, wow.
I'm alert. It gets rid of, because when I do the cold shower, I turn it and it goes cold, and I'm kind of like rotating my body and like making sure that the water like hits everywhere. But there are stints where I will let it just like hit my face. And so it gets rid of all the puffiness and the inflammation in my face. Gets the sleep out of my eyes and all that stuff. And it's just, that is like probably my favorite part of my morning routine, because it's like, it doesn't matter how much sleep I got or how crappy I slept or whatever. It's like, that is the reset button. And I feel like that allows me to not obsess over, sleep as much, because it just really resets me. The other thing I like about that is that it's discipline. It's like you're starting your day doing something super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And super, I won't say it's hard because I've done it so much, but there is that moment when you look down at the hot water knob and you're just like, am I ready to do it? And I do. I'm to the point now where I just like set the timer, reach down, do it, get in there, do it. And it just feels awesome. Feels awesome to start with something uncomfortable, show myself I can do hard things, wakes me up, gives me tons of energy.
It's kind of like your version of an ice bath.
Basically. Yeah. Yeah.
I know that's been like a big trend.
Yeah.
Ice baths.
I don't know if I'll ever get bougie enough to like buy an ice bath. I think that's almost a little bit extreme, but I've never done a legitimate ice bath before. But maybe if I did one, I'd be like, because I love the cold shower so much. Maybe if I actually did a legitimate ice bath, I would be on board with it. But I don't know. The cold showers work just fine.
Yeah. I used to do them for football, and obviously like after practice or something, you're hot. So ice baths feel really good. But in the morning, I can imagine that that's like the last thing you want to do.
I don't know. I've really grown to love it. And it's interesting. Good. It's interesting to me too, because of all of the different things that I've coached people in and that people ask me for direction and advice on, I have told so many people about the cold shower, and it just, nobody does it. Like nobody listens. Nobody takes me up on it. I can't think of a single person that I have talked to about it who, in like our normal like area here in Danville, Indiana, and surrounding area, all of our clients, not a single person has ever done it, and more than like barely trying it and then being like, nope, screw that. I'm never doing it again. Yeah. I got Joni to do it once. And that was fun. Yeah. But she never did it again.
Yeah. Dang it.
Which is interesting to me, because like I went to the conference last week in Austin, and it was a bunch of other like really awesome health coaches. It was a health coaching, basically a business conference. And, there were so many of those guys there that love cold exposure and love like ice baths and cold showers. Like I would almost bet that vast majority of people in that room did it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to me, but I can't get anybody in Indiana to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's kind of an interesting way. Like you can just recognize someone like, you look like you take an ice bath.
I mean, there was a point in the conference where they asked me and two other health coaches who, we have successful businesses, and they asked us to get up on stage, and we did a Q&A panel. So there was a host, and Darius, the host, got to ask us questions about our business and things that had worked really well for us and growing our business. And then we got to take questions from coaches in the room. And it was funny because like the coach, at least one of the coaches on stage with me, the other two coaches was like, yep, same thing. Because they asked the question, what do you guys do for your morning routine? And both of us, at least two of us, if not three of us, were like, yep, cold shower.
Yeah.
So, or ice bath, one of the two.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so wrapping up, or I guess moving on. So wake up, grab my stuff, take it to the bathroom, urinate, get my weight for the day, drink half my hydration cocktail, jump in the shower, listen to something growth minded in the shower, finish with a 2-minute cold shower, get out, drink the other half of that hydration cocktail, finish getting ready. And then the whole time I'm listening to something. I'm never really just like sitting in silence during that part of my morning routine. And then once I'm done, I'm completely ready. I head downstairs and I have Bible time. So 15, 20 minutes of sitting down. Right now I'm in Luke. So going through Luke right now. Just finished Mark. I'm just kind of like going back through.
That's what I usually do. I start with the Gospels and just kind of go on.
Yeah. So going through Luke right now. And then once I'm done with that, this is a new thing that I just started doing. I started doing 30 minutes of recon and research for basically like looking at other people's social media, to other coaches and different things like that to generate ideas for topics that I want to talk about in my social media.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like a brainstorming thing to get creative and to get creative juices and stuff like that going, since I spend so much time writing and recording videos and all that stuff. It's just nice to get in and see what other people are talking about and get some creative juices flowing. So I do that for 30 minutes. And then I have a 30-minute slot in the calendar after that where I basically just plan out my entire day.
Yeah.
And when I say plan out my entire day, I already have my days. Like if you look at my calendar, every day, the basics every day are already in my calendar. Like the work blocks are there and lunch is there, and my wake up time and my morning routine and Bible time and like all these things are in my calendar. But the work blocks aren't yet dedicated to specific things. So I basically make a list of 3 things. And this is something I started recently because it was something that I saw a lot of other pretty productive, like consistently productive people and successful people doing. There were, I noticed a pattern, a theme in what I was hearing from them, which is like a lot of them were saying, I pick 3 things. I pick 3 things that if I finished today, and I knew I at least got those 3 things done, I would feel amazing about how productive this day was. It wouldn't feel like I wasted the day.
Right.
So I have a sheet in my notepad here in the iPad, and I just like on a daily basis, I'll put like 4/16/2024, 1, 2, 3, and I'll make a list of my 3. And then the next day I open up that same sheet and I put 4/17/2024. Number 1, number 2, number 3. And I just make that list and then I just check them off as I go throughout the day. And as a part of that little planning session, what I'll do is I'll look at my day and I'll take my actual work blocks. If I have like a 3-hour or a 2-hour or a 4-hour work block, I'll then turn that giant work block into smaller work blocks dedicated to those specific things. So basically, as I start my day, I have the 3 big things that I want to do for that day to be productive. There's specifically allotted time on the calendar.
Yeah.
And then I just do go through the rest of the day to try to basically adhere to that plan. And then later on in the day, at the end of the day, I typically will sit down and kind of do a little pre-planning or pre-thinking about the next day. What do I think my 3 are going to be the next day?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily commit to them, but because I could wake up and be in a different mood, I could be in a different energy, something else could be front of my mind. But I kind of get an idea of what I think I'm going to focus on the next day.
I kind of do the same thing. I took inspiration off of your calendar when I first started getting into making a calendar, having morning routine, Bible time, like set in place. That way in my mind, I never look at my calendar every morning to like, oh, okay, right now I need to be doing my morning routine or like my Bible time. It's just kind of like, writing it down and then having it in your head is helpful. But I remember when you used to put like productivity blocks in your, I know you would do that so that people wouldn't schedule stuff for you, but I started putting that and I still put that in there. I kind of do the same thing. I have like at least up to 4 things that I want to work on. Yeah. And depending on what kind of mood I'm in or what I want to knock out first, I just kind of pick something, knock it out. Yeah. And then it just makes me feel productive.
Yeah. So I have that planning block. I forgot to mention, when I come down from getting ready in the shower and all that stuff, as I'm starting Bible time, that's where I grab coffee.
Yeah.
So I always start with hydration cocktail first, because everybody thinks when they wake up in the morning, they're all groggy and the first thing they think they need is coffee. But that's not what our body needs first thing in the morning. What we need is hydration, water, and electrolytes. I've actually found, and this has been confirmed by countless of our clients who do this, because we teach this in the program too, is when you first wake up, there's a lot of reasons why we feel like crap when we wake up. It's because we're super dehydrated and we're super salt, electrolyte depleted. And, it's why people complain about how their body aches and their joints ache and stuff like that, because you literally don't have the water and the electrolytes you need to hydrate, like for all those tissues in your joints to be well hydrated and cushioned. So like they ache. So, also energy levels, you need water and electrolytes for your energy, all that stuff. So that's why you want to ideally start with getting water and salt in the morning, so that you kind of fix that core issue. Then I have the coffee, because I don't ever need the coffee to feel awake, to feel energetic, to feel ready to tackle the day. Yeah. I drink the coffee because I love the coffee. I enjoy the coffee. Yeah. Right. And so for me, you're a black coffee guy. I'm not a black coffee guy. I hate black coffee.
I don't know how.
I just love flavor. And I like black coffee just seems like bitter, acidic nastiness to me. So I just can't. I can't do it. Joni drinks black coffee. I don't know. Like, I just can't do it. So I put massive amounts of stevia. I put basically 2 tablespoons of stevia into my mug.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, that was stevia powder when you watched me make this.
I thought it was I was like, is he putting creatine in his coffee?
No. That was stevia powder. And then I put probably like, I would say, 1/3 of a cup of Premier protein, ready to drink Premier protein shaken as creamer. My favorite is chocolate peanut butter. And then I pour the hot coffee in on top of that protein shake and the stevia, and it foams and it froths up as it mixes together. And it's like a little
Starbucks.
It's like a little latte. Yeah, it's really good.
It sounds good. I'm not opposed to that.
That's what this is. But I do that after I get the hydration.
Yeah.
Right. And that way I'm enjoying it, but I don't need it. Right. It's a treat, but it's not a requirement.
Right.
There are mornings where I just get busy, and sometimes I'll forget to have my coffee because my energy was already really good because of the cold shower and the hydration. So that's pretty much wraps up, I think, my morning routine, because everything after that is basically me like taking the kids and to school or babysitter or whatever.
Just like whatever that day brings.
I'm just getting into the day after that.
And things change. It's not like super this consistent, the same every day. And I think you and I both know that it might change after a while. I mean, I know mine's about to change some, which is kind of, I feel like I had like just really started liking my routine. I've been consistent with it for a long time now, but I don't know. I really like it. And getting thrown off your routine is kind of weird sometimes. We don't like change. We resist it, but you got to just adapt and overcome, bro.
Yeah. I mean, things are going to evolve over time. When I first started really understanding the power and the utility of morning routines was when I read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody hasn't read that book, I highly recommend it. I legitimately just dove headfirst into The Miracle Morning, because in that book, he recommends basically, I think it's like 6 or 7 different habits that he recommends that you do some or all of them. And basically the premise of that book is that, he basically interviewed all these successful people and about their morning routines. And he was looking for patterns, and he basically boiled it down to these 6 or 7 things that all these people did very consistently. He called them the savers. And he then put out this book saying like, hey, you could build your morning routine rooted on these savers, these 6 things. And then if you do that, you're probably going to have pretty stellar, a pretty stellar life.
Yeah.
And so I started doing it. I did all of them though.
Yeah.
I was doing I was getting up at 4 a.m. and I was doing like 2 hours of this morning routine. I was doing all of it. I was doing journaling. I was doing verbal affirmations. Yeah. I was doing visualization. I was doing exercise. I was doing reading, and I was doing meditation. I was doing all of those things, all 6 of the savers. And I was dedicating like 15 to 20 minutes per each one. And it ended up being about 2 hours. And it served me for a long time. In fact, that's around the time that I started this program or the coaching program and bought the gym. And that was during that time is when I probably saw like the most growth, but it just gets to be, reached a point where it was like, okay, all of these things aren't essential. And now it's actually, I feel like I have a really bare bones morning routine comparatively. I don't meditate. I don't do visualization. I don't do affirmations. I don't do my exercise first thing in the morning. But I found the things that I just really like that allow me to get into my day very quickly, and it works. So maybe someday I'll go back to meditating and stuff like that, but I don't feel the need to do it right now. Mm-hmm. But I'm also at a very Zen place in my life. I don't feel like I need to sit down and meditate.
That's good.
A whole bunch.
That's
so
really good.
Yeah. So that's morning routines. We talked about morning routines. One of the things that I noticed that a lot of people struggle with when they're really focusing on trying to lose weight or just trying to improve their health overall, one of the biggest struggles that I think people start to run into is burnout and boredom.
Oh yeah.
And so on one hand, having routines and habits is really great because it can give us such a good consistency and a structure to our days. And I think it sets us up for a lot of success. But too much routine and the wrong things can start to lead to boredom and burnout. So as our second topic here on today's episode, you brought up the idea of talking through things that maybe we do to just having a brainstorming session on things that we do to avoid burnout and to avoid boredom. Mm-hmm. So I'll let you kind of lead with this because it was your idea for the topic.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure what I'm going to say. So
right on.
What do you do? What do you do to avoid burnout and boredom? What are some of the things that you find yourself potentially getting bored with or getting burnout with? And then what do you do to avoid burnout and boredom with those things?
Yeah.
Because I probably have very different answers from you.
Yeah. A very easy thing that comes to mind on something I get bored with commonly is food. Like usually with most things, especially stuff like breakfast, I have some things, on rotate that I have and I stay consistent there. And for the most part, I don't want to change anything. I don't really get bored with it, but there's sometimes with food, I just get bored with certain things. It's usually later in the evenings. It's when I'm more hungry and, when I'm more in the mood for certain types of foods. And for example, I got really bored with tacos. That's something really easy that Summer and I do. We love just your typical taco stuff. We do the
you did the sweet chili shrimp tacos or something.
Oh yeah,
from the cookbook.
Those were our favorite. Oh, we got so bored with those though.
Yeah. Well, if you do anything to a certain extent,
right,
most things you're probably going to get bored with over time.
Yeah. And the big thing for us was the shrimp tacos from the cookbook. We were having it every week.
Yeah.
And just randomly it hit me. I was like, I do not want that at all. That does not even sound appetizing to me right now.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
And Summer was the exact same way. She was like, yeah, I really don't feel like making it.
Yeah.
So we had shrimp sit in our freezer for a couple weeks. And it was we got to make this.
Isn't that the worst when you stock up big time on something because you are just really jamming on it. And then all of a sudden it hits you and you're like, boom. I don't want this. And then you've already got 4 bags of shrimp in the freezer that just sit there. Yeah, that happens to us.
Yeah. A big thing that helps me though with that to really keep from burning out, or at least in that moment when I'm I really don't feel like making this. At least I have it just in case I can't think of anything else, but have some other things in mind that you want to make, in that moment. Sometimes if we're having like we do your own nights so that neither of us have to make dinner.
That's like every night in our house, but go ahead.
We would both have to make dinner, I guess, but not like make a big meal. It was just kind of like do your own thing, whatever. Sometimes I'll make my breakfast again. So I have breakfast twice. Yeah. Usually I do like a ungodly amount of egg whites and some eggs in there. And then like a giant bowl of oatmeal. Or I love Dave's Killer Bread. There's like these light cheese wedges that I've been getting from Laughing Cow that I've been putting on there too. So good. I literally love that every single day. So sometimes I'll have it for dinner.
That all sounds so boring to me, but go ahead.
Yeah. I love it. That's the important thing.
That's all that matters is that you love it. Yeah.
But yeah, a big thing that helps me like keeping myself from being bored or burnout on like the food side of things is just having things on rotate, or like at least having some things on my mind that I at least want to try to make.
Yeah.
Or some things that like I haven't had in a while that I know I can make, or like doesn't take many ingredients to go buy or something. So that really, and I also like for snacks and stuff, I always have like different snacks on rotate. I usually don't eat snacks, but if I have like a sweet tooth or something, usually around this time of year, watermelon, like you can start buying it from the store. Dude, I can put down some watermelon. I will smash some watermelon. But usually throughout the winter time, there's like no watermelon. So I get like those cuties or like halos. Those are really good. I love those. So
you just rotate things. You just like, what your kind of like your staples are and your favorites, and you just make sure that you have things that you can rotate in and out.
Right. Yeah. That's a big thing. And food was kind of like the main thing. I know a big problem for people is gyms or just working out in general. Initially, that's not something fun for people. It's kind of like a chore. Eventually, it becomes a fun thing. For me, it's a fun thing. I love working out, and I love getting a good sweat and everything. And
I think the interesting thing that we should point out while you're saying that, though, is that you do CrossFit.
Yeah.
You do CrossFit in group classes. And I will say that one thing I've noticed pretty consistently is that like we've had clients who have come through our program throughout the years who do group classes like Orange Theory or like other things like CrossFit, and they tend to not get as bored because there's so much variety in the types of workouts they're doing, and they're doing it with other people. And they seem to be way less prone to burnout and boredom with workouts because of that. And so I wanted to point that out. It's not like you're going in and like throwing on your headphones and doing a solo built bodybuilder style workout in the gym and, just like keep changing your workouts that way. Like you are engaged in classes, and every day is a different workout and all that stuff because of the nature of CrossFit.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely, don't get me wrong. I love going to our gym and getting like a good pump there or something. And, I usually do that as like kind of accessory, whenever I'm just in the mood to do it.
Yeah.
But if I were to do that consistently as my regular workout, I can confidently say that I would not be as consistent as I would be if I, just stuck with CrossFit, just because I don't love it as much as CrossFit. Also there's something to be said about the community feeling, just like a sense of belonging. Sometimes I don't even do the same workouts as people at CrossFit. And lately I've been doing a lot of Olympic lifting. I just kind of get in a Metcon whenever I can. Like today I did a Metcon, but, lately I've just been doing like, Olympic weightlifting while everyone else is kind of doing what the class is supposed to be doing. But the fact that I have to go and like, I'm there surrounded by my people, that's kind of how I feel. It just makes it more of a non-negotiable for me. Like I don't have to think about like, I have to go to the gym or I have to make time for this. It's more like, let's go to the gym and see everyone. And if I'm dreading the workout, and I still dread the workouts sometimes, like, especially with Olympic lifting, like stuff gets heavy and you hurt. And it's like, I really don't want to do this today, but I'm on a cycle and I don't want to give up or, be a baby and back out of it. But
I think that's one of the strengths of CrossFit. Like it's not my cup of tea, you know? But I think it's one of the strengths of class-based stuff, period, is there's that element of there's extra enjoyment because you have your people that you get to go and do that with. CrossFit in particular is very tight-knit, like more tight-knit community.
We're basically a cult.
More so than like Orange Theory. Like Orange Theory is also group fitness, but it's a very, from my understanding of talking to different clients, it's a totally different like culture.
Right.
Like CrossFit is almost like, I almost would liken CrossFit more so to like law enforcement, where it's like, it becomes like a brotherhood slash, you know, there's women and men in there, but like, you know what I'm saying?
It's accurate. Yeah.
It's like a family, like you get to know people really well. They're your friends, all that stuff.
Right.
Orange Theory is more like, you know, I don't know, there's connections there, but it's also a little bit catty, you know, or whatever. But it can backfire. I've had clients tell me like that they got burnt out with that aspect of it, you know. But I think I think there's enjoyment there more so than just doing stuff by yourself. And then also there's that like people expect to see you there.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't show up, they're like, where the heck were you, Colton?
Right.
You know?
People expect to see you there. Sometimes they throw in like some like they're messing around with you, just picking on you. They're not being serious. But yeah, they're like, why don't you show up? Like we're here getting huge and you're at home sitting on the couch eating ice cream. You know, just messing with them. But it's a great feeling. I love doing that. And we do like different kinds of workouts. Like up here soon, we got Memorial Day Murph coming up, and I'm sure everyone's heard about the Murph.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for us. You know, we like it, you know, find every reason to make that, and you know, just to do a workout with everyone there. You know, it all sucks.
What is all right, for people who don't know what the Murph is, what's the Murph?
The Murph is it's a memorial workout for I think it was a Navy SEAL, Lieutenant Murphy.
Yeah.
But the workout is a 1 mile run. Then once you come back from the run, you do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then you finish off with another mile run for time. And you're doing all this while wearing a weighted vest. So it's awful, but it's fun.
That sounds like a whole lot of nope for me.
I want to do it right now.
I think it's so funny, like the difference between you and I when it comes to certain things like fitness and workout related.
Yeah.
Like you and I are complete opposites, which is just so interesting to me. Like I am not competitive at all. The thought of high intensity, like CrossFit style workouts, like just like it's a nope. It's a hard nope for me. I'm like, what's the fastest, simplest, easiest workout that I could possibly do to get lean, stay lean, but still like have the aesthetic that I want, to get the result that I want, and I want to do nothing more than that. like personality wise, I'm like, okay, how can I dial my diet in and my exercise in so that it's the least amount of time, space, energy, effort with the maximum amount of enjoyment and like best results. But I'm like, how can I be as lazy as possible?
Right.
But you're very like the opposite. You're like, oh, the Murph, I want to do it right now.
Right. I think it's funny though, like even despite that, I mean, us being in the position we are, a lot of the ways we go about doing certain things like our fitness and, you know, staying sustainable and keeping out or, you know, trying not to be bored and stuff or avoiding burnout. It's a lot of the same stuff. Like we kind of have the same approach to everything. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's like when you boil that down, you're doing what you like. I'm doing what I like.
Yeah. That's literally the foundation of all this is like, what do I enjoy the most?
Yeah.
And, you know, just getting rid of what I enjoy the least,
pretty much,
or hate.
Yeah.
So and another thing that comes to mind is like running. I like running, but
hate running.
I hate like long distance stuff or like, even though I've done a marathon, I did that for fun, which sounds kind of crazy, but, it was like, I don't know, training for it was really annoying because it's just like, I had to make a a routine for it. And at the time, I had some motivation there because it's like, well, I gotta, train for this or else I'm gonna suck then.
Yeah.
But some people just make that their morning or part of their morning routine, just no effort at all. And it's like, I can't imagine doing that. I've tried so many times, getting up to go run. And it's like every single time I've been like,
you're just never going to be Nick Bear.
You're right. Hashtag no.
Yeah.
It's just not going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So,
yeah,
but I just don't like it. And the foundation of all this is just what you enjoy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like my answers are going to be very similar to yours,
Yeah.
both in the realm of food and fitness. I mean, a little bit different, like food, pretty much the same. Like it's all just about variety, I think. I think the problem that so many people run into, like where we're not running into it anymore, is that we have so many different things that we have figured out that we like that also get us great results, that the moment we do start to get a little bit tired of something that we're eating, we have so many options we can turn to that check the boxes that we needed them to check. Like they taste great, they're easy to make, So it's like for me, I've been on a chicken tenders and French fries kick, which I know that sounds horrible. I know there's going to be people who are watching this and be like, what do you mean chicken tenders and French fries? And here's what someone's going to say when they hear that. Like there's going to be a Karen out there.
Oh, here we go.
There's going to be a Karen out there who's going to be like, he's just a skinny man. He's never probably been overweight. He's never given birth to kids. He's just always been in great shape. And of course, he can eat chicken tenders and French fries anytime he wants. It must be nice, Matt.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is actually not the case, except for the kids thing. I've never birthed children.
I would hope not.
But I have been overweight.
Yeah.
I have been very unhappy and unhealthy with myself. I used to eat horribly. So that's not the case. So the fact that I eat chicken tenders and French fries literally every day is not because I am blessed genetically or with my body. Because I used to eat, a lot of things that I shouldn't like. I used to eat chicken tenders and French fries, and it made me fat. Mm-hmm. So there are very specific chicken tenders that I eat, and I portion all of that in a way that allows me to eat chicken tenders every day, or some variation of it. Like I make boneless buffalo wings with them.
That sounds so good.
I make just regular like chicken tenders and salt the crap out of them. There's just certain things I do, but it's a very specific. There's one brand of chicken tenders that I can get away with that with.
Yeah.
No other brand on the face of the planet could I get away with that except that one brand. Mm-hmm. And for anybody who wants to know, it's real good brand. They have a chicken tender and a chicken nugget that are like compared to any other chicken nugget or chicken tender on the market. They taste amazing. They're gluten-free. It's whole chicken. It's not processed. They are only 130 calories per serving. And they're like way higher in protein and low in carbohydrate and fat than any other chicken tender on the market.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the literal name is Real Good.
Real Good.
Not just you
that
describing
is the brand.
It.
Real Good is the brand. And they make a bunch of other stuff. Like they make like burritos and like chicken cordon bleus and all this stuff. And the rest of their products, while I'm sure they taste really good, they kind of suck nutritionally. They're not nearly as good as their chicken tenders and their chicken nuggets are from a nutritional protein content, like versus calories and all that stuff standpoint. But the chicken tenders are really good. So Karen, back off. But seriously though, like when I get tired of eating chicken tenders or some variation of chicken tenders and French fries, which I've literally eaten every single day since I discovered these chicken tenders probably 2 months ago. And I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm probably still going to have chicken tenders and French fries today or buffalo wings for lunch today. So I'm not there. But like last night for dinner, I chose to have meatball subs. Mm-hmm. I was like, we'll just throw some variety in. But the thing is, the part of this is because of the cookbook that we have in the program. Like I have an endless almost amount of variety that I can immediately swap that chicken tenders and French fries out for that I love just as much as the chicken tenders and fries. Yeah. So I think that's where people get like really tripped up though, is they don't have all that figured out. So they find one thing or two things or three things that they do like enough to do it. But then when they get burnt out, they have nothing on standby. They have no other things. And so then there's that, like, they don't have anything to turn to. So the thing they turn to is the old stuff.
Right.
That was not as helpful for them. Yeah. So I say all of that just to say, like, I think the main focus is if someone is going to take something really valuable out of this is just when you're first starting off in a weight loss journey, I think you want to avoid the temptation to just find, like I am right now, the chicken tenders and French fries, find that one thing that you really like and just like wear the heck out of it. Mm-hmm. I think you really want to focus on trying and experimenting constantly with new things, and always, like, almost every day you need to be trying something new so that you can expand that menu and that variety really quickly, so that when you do start to get burnt out on stuff, you have all these other things that you've figured out.
Stuff on rotate.
And you're not just going to be like, oh, well, crap, I ate these 3 things for 3 months. And now I literally, like you with the shrimp tacos, I don't even want to look at a shrimp taco anymore, but you have nothing else. And so now you're ordering pizza, or you're just like going through the drive-through or something. So, you know.
And that applies to all of us. Like
everybody.
Like there's a reason why a big focus is the enjoyment factor, even for us. Like,
totally.
Because if we didn't have those things on rotate, those temptations are just as, heavy for us too. Like
100%.
Like, I have a Papa John's 5 minutes from me, actually 3 minutes from me.
Yeah.
That's a big temptation sometimes. So I got to have these things on rotate, or else I'm going to be making a phone call.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's another interesting thing too, because this is the other thing that I was thinking about when you were talking about variety in your food, is there's like a spectrum when it comes to how much you enjoy a food. I think the more you enjoy a food that you are eating, or a meal, or whatever it is that you're eating, the longer you can eat it before you get burnt out.
Right.
And I think if you, like, at the very top of that spectrum, there are foods that you literally could probably eat every day for the rest of your life, and it'd be really hard to get burnt out on them.
Yeah.
Like chicken tenders and French fries is one of those things. It'll probably take me months and months and months to get tired of that.
Right.
Because I just love it.
Yeah.
But the lower on the enjoyment factor a meal or a snack or whatever that is that you're eating is, the faster you're going to get burnt out with it. Right. And so one of the things that I have found personally with me lately is I love fried food. I actually grew up on massive amounts of chicken tenders and French fries. That's why I love it so much to this day. When I was young, my parents both worked outside of the home. My dad ran a real estate business, so he was always gone, like, from early in the morning until like late afternoon, like very, very, I would say, like mid-evening. He just was running a business. My mom worked nights. So I spent, during the summer when I was out of school, I spent most of my time alone, right? I lived out in the middle of nowhere. I had no immediate neighbors. We were the only house on our, like, mile stretch of road before you got to the other houses. Cornfields on all 4 sides. So I grew up playing a lot of video games by myself and making my own food. As soon as I was old enough to hook up a deep fryer and to make chicken tenders and French fries in the deep fryer, my parents trained me how to do that.
Yeah.
And I literally ate chicken tenders and French fries for, like, every meal throughout the summer, nonstop, when I was a kid. It's amazing that I am who I am today.
Yeah.
Based on that. But because I did that, this is a long story. Sorry, guys. Because I did that, I became, like, really enthralled, and I love fried food to this day. It's one of those things that I just love. So prior to finding these specific chicken tenders, I hadn't really found a way that I could indulge one of my favorite things on a frequent basis, unless it was just a straight up cheat meal. I was just going to have a cheat meal, right? So I found myself struggling with fried food. Even as soon as 2 months ago, I would struggle with fried food, right? Not to the point where it negatively impacted my ability to maintain and to be healthy, obviously, but I struggled with it. Like, every Friday I would go and me and Joni would order a cheat meal from a local restaurant here called the Kickstand. And I would always get a order of 12 fried traditional wings, naked, because I don't like all that sauce on my hands. And I would salt those because I love salty, savory, crunchy food. And then I would get their basket of waffle fries, which I don't think they have waffle fries anymore. I think they switched to regular fries, but I would get the basket, not the single order, the family basket. And then I would also order, they have this appetizer called tenderloin strips, where they fry a tenderloin, and then they just like take a pizza cutter and they like cut it into strips, right? So good. I would order all 3 of those. I would eat all of it. I would eat all 12 wings, the entire basket of waffle fries, and all the strips of those, and I would be miserable, almost to the point where I'd want to throw up. But since I didn't throw up, I kept doing it every week.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Right? So, but here's why I'm telling this story. What's interesting about this to me is when I found this brand of chicken tender, and I realized, okay, these are low enough in calorie and high enough in protein that these can just be a normal part of my day. I could eat these in any meal in the right portion and even have them with regular French fries in the air fryer. And I can actually be my leanest and still eat this. Like I can be, 10% or less body fat if I want to and still eat these. I can actually give these to my clients, my female clients, and they can actually portion these out and eat them, and they're still losing weight. Right. So I was like, once I figured that out, I started eating chicken tenders and French fries every day again. And guess what I haven't done in 2 months?
You haven't had a cheat meal.
I haven't had a cheat meal. Literally, I have not had a single cheat meal in 2 months because the 2 cheat meals that were my go-tos were the Kickstand, all that fried food, and Chinese food. And the Chinese food was basically fried chicken in a sauce, like General Tso's chicken.
And we've got that in the cookbook.
So now I can make that.
Yeah.
And it tastes just as good as the Chinese restaurant does with these chicken tenders. So all of that is like a really long, way longer than it should have been drawn out story to help people understand that there's a spectrum. The more you enjoy a food, the longer it'll take you to get burnt out.
Right.
And if you can find foods that are really high on that enjoyment factor, not only will you get burnout way less often, but you'll actually get to a point where you don't need to do cheats.
Yeah.
And that is I'm telling you, that is a recent learning for me. I have always, in our curriculum, in our course that we teach our clients, we basically teach them how to do big cheats and how to recover from them so that they can go back and forth between big cheats and still losing weight and then be able to maintain all the way at their goal weight. I built that into the curriculum. Why? Because I still wanted to do big cheats every single week. And it's interesting to me that now I'm in a place where I basically have found replacements for my biggest cheats that I legitimately don't need to go.
Right.
Plus I'm saving a lot of money. You know how much money I was spending on Kickstand and Chinese food every week. So if you can, you guys hear me talk about this all the time. You're probably sick and tired of hearing me talk about it, but the enjoyment factor.
Yeah.
If you can find options where you enjoy it enough, you'll get burnout way less and you'll actually not have to cheat as much. But short of that, you just need to keep experimenting with food so that you can have enough variety, so you can have things to swap out when you need to swap them out. And if you don't, it needs to be a lot. This is why we have a cookbook with 150 recipes in it for our clients to help them really get there quick. But I think you probably need to have at least 20 different meal recipes at home, or just meals at home that you really like, to have enough variety and choice when you do kind of wear something out that you never run into an issue.
Right.
And if you can make those 20 options, also check the boxes for the things that you always struggled with wanting, but you can never have, then you're golden for sustainable weight loss. If I rattle off some of my options that check that box for me, chicken tenders and French fries, I can do that now. I can also make my favorite Chinese dishes with those chicken tenders and I can make them fit. We've got recipes for that in the cookbook. I can do a bowl of cereal now because there's some really high protein cereals on the market and high protein milks. I can have a massive bowl of cereal and it still fits.
Yeah.
I can do, we just added recipes in the cookbook for chicken Parmesan subs and buffalo chicken subs, again, using the chicken tenders, right? But they taste amazing. So now I don't have to go and order, a chicken Parm sub anymore. I can have boneless buffalo wings. All these things that are my favorite things in the world, I have a healthy alternative for every single one of them. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm set.
Put stuff on rotate.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the name of the game, dude.
100%. I mean, for exercise, I don't know. I am different from you in that I don't get as bored as easily, but it's also, my thing is not variety. I don't need variety with my exercise. I just need it to be as short and quick and sweet as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And as accessible as possible. That's why I do like 15 to 20, 30 minutes max, but like a lot of my workouts are just like 15 to 20 minutes, where I'll just do biceps and I'll just do 20 minutes of like hard, like really intense bicep workout, and I'm done and I'm on doing whatever else I want to do. Yeah. And then like the next day I'll just do 20 minutes of just beat the crap out of my chest. I don't do legs, so I don't have to worry about that.
Dude, you're a psychopath. I don't know how.
I'm kidding. I do legs, but I don't do enough legs, right? I do. That sounds so weird. I have been doing shorter 15-minute like leg workouts and stuff at home, but they're not really that great. So we're in the process of building out a small home gym, and I'm going to get a leg machine so that I can do some leg workouts and stuff at home.
I think it's powerful to have like some awareness around the fact that, you don't really need variety with what you're doing. It's just how you're going about it. Like, I mean, you've even mentioned several times to me, like you live 4 minutes away from your gym that you own, and you have a home gym. And some people would be like, that seems ridiculous, but it's whatever is easiest is lowering that barrier, that resistance, that friction. And you're just kind of enjoying it, but like, at least it's easy for you.
Yeah.
Even if it's something that you hate, like working out, but it's necessary to do, at least find some ways to make it easier. That way it's, that less complaints towards it and
totally.
Less reasons to convince yourself to not do it.
100%. Like if I really get honest with what I like when it comes to working out, this sounds bad, but like, I don't like people when I'm working out. Like, I just want to be doing my thing. I like to enjoy watching like YouTube videos or listen to a book or stuff like that. So, and I don't want to interact with people while I'm working out. This probably sounds really like surface level, whatever, but I don't care. Now that I am in maintenance and I like, I'm in a position where, I'm starting to like what I see in my body. I like to work out looking at myself in the mirror while I work out. And if I can, with my shirt off. Like, I know that sounds like, no,
I do the same thing.
But like, if I can do that, it motivates me to work out because it's like I'm seeing the results in real time. I don't know if that makes sense, but there's just 100%. Like, I don't know how to explain that, but like, and it probably sounds super vain, but it is something I look forward to. And that's why I like to work out at home.
Right.
Because I can have a mirror. I can do the exercises that I'm doing in the mirror. I can see my muscles working. It helps me with form. There's so many different things, but that's why I've just become very clear that I enjoy working out alone at home, where I can listen to whatever I want. I don't have any interruptions. Yeah. I can have a mirror. I can do whatever I want. And I can that's perfect to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, like I said, same thing, just enjoyment factor. It's just the big underlying thing behind all this stuff that, keeps us from experiencing burnout and getting really bored with everything. We're constantly refining and changing. It's not like just because, we're really fit and have found what works for us, it's not like it just stays the same all the time. What works for us is we know how to find different things and adapt. That's really what it is. We just know how to adapt.
100%. Like if you go back and rewind the tapes through my fitness journey, I've gone through all these different phases. You know, when I first started back in, I first really started in 2013. I was going through a divorce. It was a really hard time in my life. And I found the gym as an escape, a place to escape to. And I fell in love with the gym at that point in time. I fell in love with working out because it was a way for me to vent my emotion and, you know, help with my mental health as much as it could. I was still in a horrible place, but it helped. I mean, I don't know, I'd probably be dead if it weren't for the gym because I was either going to work out or I was going to drink.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I probably would have just been in such a dark place without the gym at that part of my life that I who knows what I would have done. But I went through years, probably from 2013. I mean, probably all the way even up through probably, I'd say 2021, like probably like the end of COVID. I was in a gym phase. I enjoyed going to the gym. I enjoyed all the variety of all the different machines in the gym. I loved owning a gym and being able to work out in my gym. I did longer workouts because I enjoyed that aspect of it. And then something like really started to shift when I went from when Lachlan, my daughter, got older and she like has such an amazing personality and we get to spend more time together and stuff like that. And like when my family unit started to become really fun.
Yeah.
Right. When it wasn't just me and Joni and we started to become a family with, me and her and, Lachlan and then now our son Corbin being there. And then, the animals, like it's way more fun for me to be home than it is to be in the gym now. And so, but yeah, if you rewind the tapes, I went through these very different seasons and my preferences slowly started to change. And I think that's where a lot of people get off and they never get back on is they just like, they get bored or burn out with something like the food they're eating or the gym. The gym's a big one. And they just stop doing it instead of asking themselves, like, why am I not doing this? Why am I getting burnout? Why am I getting bored? Why am I not wanting to go to the gym anymore? And then asking yourself, well, what would I want to do? And what helped me is I got clear on the fact that I do want to be home. I do want to work out alone. I do want to have less choices when it comes to machines. I do want to do shorter workouts. And then I started curating and building that so that I can do it. But it's just, I think it's just important for people to kind of check in with themselves and say like, hey, am I feeling burnout and bored with my food? Am I feeling burnout and bored with my workouts? Why and what would allow me to feel excited about this again? And then just answer that question and follow down that path.
Yeah. I guess I know we got another topic to get into. Maybe
we're probably not going to hit the third topic today.
That's all good.
Because I think these two interplayed very well.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I don't feel like getting passionate about talking about.
Yeah. I feel like that third one could also make its own episode because we have a lot to say.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that. So if you were waiting all the way until the end of this episode just to hear about products and scams and things that people get sucked into, sorry.
This episode itself was a scam.
We got you.
we got you. Clickbaits.
Yeah, good stuff. I don't think we need to do the third topic today. I think this is a good place to end it.
Yeah,
I think
it was a great conversation.
Yeah, it was good. I think there's hopefully some good things that people can pick up on there. If you enjoyed this and you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe. And also, I haven't asked for people to do this in the past, but I'm going to start doing it. If you guys have topics that you want us to talk about or you want to hear our perspective on, because we're like a big deal and all.
Right.
obviously.
Absolutely.
But just legitimately, if you guys have specific topics or questions or things like that you would love us to have conversation about here on the podcast, and hear perspective on, please, in whatever platform you're on, like in the comments, let us know, and we'll make it a priority to bring that into these episodes. And it gives us stuff to look forward to making episodes about. So, and that way we get to interact with you guys a lot more who are listening, like all 2 of you
Go team.
that are out there listening to this.
Yeah. We're all in this together.
Both of you and us, we're in it together. So, all right.